I agree with your assessment there, Walt, and I think that the shift within the National Conference has been a big factor in Norristown's win-loss column. And I think that, as you do, that they have done a superb job of staying competitive in this extraordinarily competitive league. They will play, of course, the football team will play, of course, one more season in the Suburban One League National, then moving to the American Conference. Little play action. Blake goes up top. Soft pass to the outside to Garvin Stewart. Complete inside the 5-yard line.
And that is not an easy pass to throw. You really have to be patient. You really have to know what the play is designed to do. I mean, obviously it's tempting for Chris Blake to try and throw that ball a little more to the inside, get Garvin Stewart turning upfield more quickly towards that end zone. And especially on a second and long situation where you want to pick up a lot of yardage. But Chris Blake, nice touch to throw it out there right into Garvin Stewart's hands so he can catch the ball, then turn upfield. Let him do the work. The trick for the quarterback is get the guy in the ball in a good position where he can do something with it after he catches it. And Chris Blake has got increasingly better at that every single game.
3rd and 3 from just outside the 3-yard line of Central Dauphin East. The pitch goes to Garvin Stewart. He cuts it up inside. Touchdown. 6 points for Garvin Stewart on a 3-yard carry. And the Eagles up on top 13-0. Albie Morano will come on to attempt the extra point.
And what a great player Garvin Stewart is to have in your backfield. I mean, adds a lot of slash, adds a lot of quickness. But right there, knew exactly where the end zone was, saw 2 guys in front of him, but just put his head down, completely ignoring the defenders and just split them to get into the end zone. What a great weapon, and he just picks up all the key yards, all the big yards, never going backwards.
And 2 impressive drives by the Eagles resulting in touchdowns. Blake waits for the snap. Morano's kick is up. It's good again, so it'll be 14-0 Norristown, and the Eagles quickly establishing dominance in this game. As we mentioned, a fairly sparsely attended contest with the inclement weather, the opponent that is unknown to the to the fans. In fact, those folks on the far sideline sort of rival the Norristown crowd here a little bit. These folks came all the way down from central Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I'm sure they must have come down on the bus with the team. Certainly with 26 players, there might have been some room.
About 26 spaces probably.
Well, those who did brave it certainly are seeing the Eagles play a great offense tonight. That was a 10-play drive. That one went 72 yards. So 2 drives of over 70 yards, and we're just into the second quarter. Real effective offense from the Eagles.
And of course, you'll be watching this game on tape delay, folks. But to draw a comparison from a college game earlier in the day, Norristown appears more like Michigan than Penn State. I guess that's appropriate because the opponent is from central Pennsylvania. So, you know, you draw some conclusions.
Yeah, the Eagles certainly wish that they were undefeated at this point of the season.
That's true. That's true. It'd be the playoffs. Of course, I don't mind taking shots at the Penn State people, being a Villanova guy myself. Now, your alma mater just played their last football game today. I don't know if you saw the score or not, but it resulted in a victory. A winless Boston University team. Oh, that kickoff hits one of the up men right at the line of scrimmage. Almost killed him, I think, knocked him over. But he recovered it. Great play on the field that time to stop that ball. It'll be good field position for the Panthers.
Well, Jeff, it's Terrier pride, absolutely. Boston University Terrier pride. Coming out with, what was the score, by the way? I feel ashamed I don't know it.
It was sentiment, and they beat Massachusetts.
They beat Massachusetts. Well, it's a cross-state rival, and in honor, I'm wearing my shirt inside out tonight, as the Terrier players did. Once it was announced that there will be no more football at Boston University, players took to wearing their shirts inside out. And, good to see a little bit of pride to suck it up and win that final game.
Absolutely. 1st and 10 now for the Panthers. Terrence Doyle at quarterback. The play action goes to the outside. Great defensive play by Garvin Stewart. That time the intended receiver, Tyrell Johnson. Johnson with 38 catches this year for over 500 yards. He's certainly their go-to guy on the passing game.
And because he is their main guy, over half the receiving yards for the Panthers this year, he will be the guy in the pass pattern that Garvin Stewart will be watching. Obviously, Johnson will have a cornerback, either Stead or Milligan, matched up on him at all times. But Garvin Stewart will be shifting to that side to help out, and that was a great defensive play, getting up in the air from Garvin Stewart.
So on 2nd and 10 from their own 39-yard line, the Panthers of Central Dauphin East look to get their offense on track here. Doyle with the handoff to Motley. Motley around the left side, shows a flash of speed there, picks up a few yards. DeLucia, the tackler. Lewis Motley this season, Walt, 154 carries for 996 yards. So certainly he's over the 1,000-yard mark in this contest. Picked up about 4 yards on that play, so he got it right there. If he didn't get it on the first possession, I'm not sure what Motley had on that first series. I don't think he had 4 yards, though.
No, that only a second carry of the game. His first one went for 2 yards, so now he is over the 1,000-yard mark. And with 6.5 yards a carry, he's another weapon back there. They like to throw, but Motley's no slouch.
3rd and 6 for Central Dauphin East. Lots of time to throw for Doyle into quadruple coverage, and it hits Ian Stead right in the chest and bounces back. That time 4 Eagle defenders out there on Terrell Johnson.
And they've definitely had some tape of the Panthers this year. Don't know where they got it from, but they are converging on Tyrell Johnson. And, boy, with the way that the quarterback only looks at Johnson, I don't know how he's got as much yardage as he does this year. He must be a tremendous receiver.
It's interesting to see a southpaw quarterback, not something we see all that often, although we've had a few here in Norristown history. But that ball incomplete, brings up 4th down again, so it's 3 and out for the Panthers. The punter, Eric Pavone. Nice kick taken at the 20 by Don Milligan. Milligan goes to the far sideline. Modest return of about 7 yards, but the Eagles will have the possession once again with 10:34 to play here in the first half. Their lead is 14-0.
And it will be Don Vaughn in at the tailback to start this series. Vaughn used mostly by the Eagles this year for end arounds and a couple of trick plays. Gives you a lot of speed, a lot of quickness. In this case, the Eagles are going to call on him for a little while to be their main guy in the backfield.
And Walt, I don't see that Troy Swittenberg has returned from the locker room this second time. Troy obviously being attended to. If we get an update before the end of the broadcast, we'll certainly pass it along to you. This time they go to Vaughn. Vaughn bounced outside by Tyrell Johnson. Don Vaughn doesn't want to go down, and he pays the price because of it, as some of Johnson's colleagues come up to assist him there. So Vaughn loses 6 yards on the carry, 2nd and 16 for the Eagles.
Now they're pushed back into a spot where a lot of it's going to rely on the arm of Chris Blake. They're going to have to spread the offense out a little bit because it looks like the Panthers are going to be keying on Don Vaughn, and Garvin Stewart is not your long yardage guy.
This time they keep everybody on the short side of the field. They fake the pitch, the quick handoff to Stewart. Boy, there's the hole. He's got Burrell out front. Garvin Stewart with a big carry that time. And I'll tell you, give Chris Blake the credit. He really sold that pitch to the outside and just tucked it into Garvin Stewart's belly, and what a huge hole.
Yeah, well, with a hole like that, our director, Tony Koya, could be your long yardage guy. I mean, Garvin Stewart had a huge hole to run through that time, and when he took that quick handoff, just ran straight ahead, had one blocker out in front of him to pick up a man and allow him to get that first.
But I tell you, I remain impressed by James Burrell. That young man is big, and he is fast. He's better than some running backs we've seen this year. Blake on the quick drop, the touch pass down the sideline. Pronsati out of bounds. That was a great effort by Paul Pronsati. Unfortunately, he was about 1.5 yards out of bounds when he was trying to keep his feet down. He said there's that second line on the sidelines, and that's what he saw down below.
And what a great receiver Pronsati is. I mean, that one obviously going down as an incompletion, but a lot of times at this level you'll just see athletes out there and guys who can make great plays, have a lot of speed, maybe good hands. But Pronsati actually turned, put his toes down and reached out for that ball as far as he could go to fully extend himself and catch that ball. And unfortunately, he had to go a little bit too far than he wanted to and had to step out of bounds. But great receiving skill that time, great technique by Pronsati. Brings up
2nd and 10 for Norristown. Blake's got time. He goes to the far side. Pronsati makes the catch in a well-received ball. It's only going to be a gain of about a yard or two, though, however. The defender right there. Oh, there's a flag thrown at Pronsati. But I tell you, the official almost hit Paul Pronsati with that flag. He must have made some kind of a comment down on the field. I think we're going to see a personal foul called against Norristown. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Don't like to single out anyone, but that was clearly on the receiver, Pronsati. He was the only player over there.
Yeah, when they hit you with a flag, that's pretty much singling you out, intentional or not.
So it'll be a 15-yard penalty after a 2-yard gain. It's going to bring up third and very long. And Pronsati comes out of the ball game. Coach Grove wants to have a chat with him.
Pronsati's lucky he's got a little buffer in there, but in the form of another assistant coach, because Coach Grove is not happy with him at this point.
That's an understatement. 3rd and 22. The play action. No, pardon me, that was a handoff. Good job by Blake. He sold me. I thought he was going to pass.
Yeah, the Eagles love to use that draw on the 3rd and long, where it's real dangerous to throw the ball, and especially with their top receiver, Pronsati, out, so the coaches could settle him down a little bit. So they love to run that draw and let that running back gallop into the open space and see what he can do. And at least now they've worked themselves up closer to the 40-yard line, where Marano have a lot of room to punt and hopefully pin the Panthers back deep in their own zone.
So on 4th down, Marano will be in to punt. Back to receive is Tyrell Johnson. Low snap. They come with the block. Marano gets it up quickly. It's going to be a short kick, but it takes a Norristown bounce. Johnson instead are down to touch up at about the 30-yard line, and the Eagles got a bit of a break that time, Walt. Good penetration that time from the outside by the Panthers. Marano gets it up. It was almost a straight-up kind of kick, but it took a great Norristown bounce.
Yeah, it's a nice roll to get on a soft field like this. And again, the Eagles with Bobby Davis in there. It looked like they're going to go to that 4-3, even a 4-4 if you're going to count Garvin Stewart as a linebacker back there. But Stewart will read the play as it comes off the line of scrimmage and adjust accordingly. Right now, he's up close to that line of scrimmage. 8 men in the box for the Eagles.
Terrence Doyle, the quarterback for the Panthers. Little movement then on the line, but no flags. The quick handoff up the middle. The ball carrier is the fullback, Pavone. He bounces off one tackler, but then is thrown backwards. This forward progress might have gotten him to the line of scrimmage there. Perhaps a short gain. The score, if you joined us late, is 14-0 Norristown. There's 7:25 to play here in the first half. The Eagles taking on the Panthers of Central Daughin East, a team from Central Pennsylvania that comes into this ball game 3-7 after losing last week to Chambersburg. The Eagles entering this contest 4-6 after a thrilling win here at home against local rival North Penn. The long count. Doyle on the handoff to Motley. Oh, what a tackle. Wow. Darrell Johnson. Stellar penetration from the linebacker spot. Rips down Motley for a loss.
And Johnson was coming on the blitz. Great adjustment to make that stop on the slick field and chase the ball carrier down from behind. But Johnson was from the right side of the defensive line coming through there on the blitz. Great body control to chase that running back down.
Loss of 2 on the play brings up 3rd and 12 from the 29-yard line. Doyle has his backs in the eye. This time he's got Derek Pledger out wide right. Doyle looks right, then comes back left on a screen. Johnson receives the ball, but I'll tell you what, the Eagles stayed at home, and especially credit Brian Webster, number 50, the nose tackle, right there to rip down Tyrell Johnson.
And when you have a defensive lineman making the tackle on that screen, especially with that wide receiver screen in the middle there, you know, you sort of have to go back to the chalkboard with it, because you want those defensive linemen farther upfield. If that lineman's hanging around your receiver, that might be a ball that shouldn't be thrown.
So once again, the Panthers with 4th down, 4th and 8. They'll be forced to punt. We've got Milligan and Pronzati back to receive. Oh, the high snap over the head. James Burrell in pursuit. Oh, what a job to try and get that ball off at all. It's taken and then fumbled. Zitzer recovers. Wow. That's not a play you see diagrammed in the locker room before the game. Very high snap that time. Goes over the head of punter Eric Pavone, and James Burrell was right on top of it. How did Pavone get his foot on that ball? Then it's taken by, who was that, A.J. Hamaday. Hamaday then fumbles, and Zitzer dives on it for the Eagles.
Yeah, and it's a tough position as a coach. What do you do? Hamaday made a great play, really, to come up on that ball, and boy, he saw a lot of room down that sideline. A.J. Hamaday plays that deep safety and doesn't get to touch the ball much, but he saw end zone right there. And as he picked that ball up, he just kind of left it there hanging in the air and ran away without it. Good presence of mind by Jim Zitzer to dive on top of it.
Timeout called. I'm sorry, Walt. Timeout called by Coach Mosley after that debacle, and he wants his guys to settle down a little bit here. Norristown already out in front in this contest with great field position inside his 30-yard line.
Yeah, I think we need to settle down a little bit after that. That was pretty chaotic and very exciting, but certainly a lot of mistakes going on there that the coaches do not want to see. I mean, Eric Pavone, a great job to get that punt off, but James Burrell, not the guy I want to see bearing down on me with his size and speed. I'd want to get that ball away as quickly as possible as well.
So Coach Grove had a chance to come out onto the field and confer with his offense here. And once again, this may be the Eagles' final game of the season. They are anticipating a home contest here against Plymouth Whitemarsh on Thanksgiving, but that is to be determined. Wow, that is an interesting play that time. Blake held that ball out there, and Garvin Stewart finally decided to take it from him. That was an interesting setup.
Yeah, and it was one that really almost worked. If that a guy around Garvin Stewart's legs there, he had all kinds of room, nothing between him and the pylon on that right side of the field.
We're under 5 minutes to play here in a rather sedate first half, but a well-played first half by Norristown. Sedate, I guess, until that punt attempt by Central Daughin. Blake looks to the outside. He's got Zitzer. That's a tough pass. Zitzer running away from that ball, had to come back to it. Blake really didn't have much space to throw that ball. It was good coverage that time by the Panthers.
Yeah, that was, the play was designed to get out there to Jim Zitzer and let him turn it upfield. But something the Eagle coaches might want to look at for a little bit later in the game. Quarterback Mike Goodman, number 7 for the Panthers, was up very tight on Paul Pronzati. And when Pronzati made a little shake and cut inside, looked like he had a seam down the middle of that field and nobody between him and the end zone. So something that I'm sure the coaches will take a look at because Chris Blake certainly has shown the ability to make that throw down the seam this year.
And now they switch up. They bring out Tyrell Johnson on Pronzati. They probably saw the same thing you did, Walt. And that's where they're headed this time. Short pass. Look at Pronzati come back to the ball. Incomplete. It's a complete pass, but Pronzati's knee touchdown. Of course, in high school, that's all you need to stop the play. Don't have to be touched up by a defender.
And Tyrell Johnson says, yeah, I knew that. He was down. Boy, he was 10 yards away from Pronzati. I did not see the move that Pronzati put on him, but it must have been a good one.
I'd always think that a wide receiver would be a good cornerback, you know, and they switched up that time to bring Johnson over onto Pronzati, and Johnson just disappeared from the play. Pronzati made a nice cut, turn-in move, and Blake hit him dead on in the numbers. Big first down for Norristown, but Johnson was nowhere to be found.
The last Eagle play was designed to go to the end zone. Johnson thought that one was too.
First down for Norristown. Pressure from the outside. Blake stands in the middle, over the middle. Boy, I tell you, there was a lot of contact there between Johnson and Pronzati. No flags, though. Incomplete second down.
Chris Blake let that one go. Just counting on the good hands of Paul Pronzati, but it was a little bit high and a little bit overthrown.
That was a gun. He really rifled that ball across the middle there. And the Eagle line doing a great job of providing Blake with a good pocket. That time there was a little bit of pressure from the outside, but Blake had excellent protection, just stepped up slightly and had the time to deliver the ball. 2nd and 10 now from about the 20-yard line. This time they go to Vaughn. Vaughn still with the ball, runs through the pile. And I'll tell you, Daughin with a great effort that time. I thought he was tied up after a gain of only a yard or two, but he created a bit more.
And that was all Daughin. Once he got into that line, there was no help that any of his teammates could give him. He just had to struggle and spin for the extra yardage that he got.
Give him 5 yards, brings up 3rd and 5 from the Panther 15-yard line with 3:33 to play here in the first half. Eagles with the only scoring here tonight. They have 14 on the board, looking to put a few more up as well. Vaughn follows Stewart. Vaughn again with an excellent effort. Bulls his way ahead. Brian Webster looked like he was out there in front. The tackle made that time by number 61, Jesse Haar. So first down Eagles on a great carry by Daughin. He got just what he needed. Another 5 yards. The ball is just inside the 10-yard line, so it'll be 1st and goal for Norristown. This time the Eagles keep everybody in tight. Blake, the handoff to Vaughn. Vaughn up the middle, inside the 5, stopped down at about the 3-yard line.
And just another great straight-ahead push by that Eagle offensive line.
Of course, Garvin Stewart in there with the lead block.
Yeah, absolutely. Garvin Stewart's getting his head in there, and Brian Webster's really firing off that ball. There is no penetration through the middle of that Eagle line.
Official time on the field for equipment. While we have just a second, we want to thank the Norristown Area School District for bringing you this ball game. Of course, we want to say thanks to Mr. Tony Koya, Director of Communications, who's handling our broadcast tonight, along with Garrett Hickman, Monica Faust, and Alicia Milner. Always want to say thanks to our statistician, Greg Fry. I'm Jeff Brandon along with Walt Fry, and it is 2nd and goal for the Eagles. Vaughn runs into nothing but white jerseys that time. It's going to bring up 3rd and goal for Norristown.
Yeah, Vaughn played fullback that time, put my head down and trying to run over somebody. That's not his game.
Apparently not, as the Eagles call time to think it over here on 3rd and goal from the 4.
And as you can see, not a lot of defensive substitutions by Central Dauphin East. They don't have many guys over there, and they pretty much go with the straight 11 all the time, no matter what the situation.
Looks like they have them all in the game. You look on that far sideline, there's not a lot of guys to come in. Give these young men credit for sticking with it.
And for improving, for getting the 3 wins with obviously not a large squad at all. For coming back after a winless season last year and putting 3 wins up on the board and then traveling all this distance to try and get their 4th.
Well, the cheerleaders getting a little extra TV time down here near the goal line. They had to move out of their traditional center field spot because of some standing water there in the on the track.
Yeah, we'll have to talk to Joe Fabrizio, maybe put a couple squeegees in the budget there so that we can keep centered. But hardy as ever, the cheerleaders in their rain gear tonight.
There's almost one cheerleader for every person in the stands.
It's Adopt a Fan night here at Roosevelt Stadium.
Coach Grove makes his way off the field after conferring with the offense. 2 minutes to play here in this first half. The Eagles very impressive so far tonight. Chris Blake will set the offense for the Eagles. This time, the pitch to Vaughn. He's got Stewart out front. Vaughn cuts it back inside. Touchdown. Great look that time by Daughin for 6 points.
And Vaughn showed a little bit of what Troy Swittenberg is so good at, using his blockers. After he received that pitch, Daughin really had 4 guys looking at him in white shirts, had no room to get out there, but he let Garvin Stewart make the good block on Mike Goodman and then just slashed up through that hole. Another good job by Chris Blake at handling the ball. That time held it a long time on that option, let it develop, let Stewart get out in front, and Daughin did the rest.
Morano on again, his 3rd extra point attempt of the evening. Good snap, flag on the play, looks like offsides again. Be no kick, we'll do this again, whether it's against Norristown or Central Dauphin East.
Well, there was movement from Central Dauphin East trying to come across that line, and that's who got that call. Looked like they're man on the end trying to get in to put a little pressure on Morano on that kick. But Jim Zitzer holding his ground, not flinching when that man tried to come across the line, drew the offsides call.
We don't get too much of an advantage here. You're already starting at, what, the 3-yard line for the snap? So now you get it from the 1.5.
Yeah, I don't think it'll affect Morano's range or approach to this kick all that much. He has had a tendency to get some low kicks out, so we'll have to get this one up a little faster.
That'd be a heck of a kick under the bar. That'd be impressive. Good for soccer, not good for football. Morano's good. 21-0 Norristown. And that's got to be quite a dichotomy there. I mean, Morano, of course, a soccer player. And out on that soccer field, he wants to keep it under the bar. Now he's got to go over the bar. Let's talk a little bit about that yin and yang thing that we've got going there for Albie.
It's pretty much two different approaches. In football, obviously, you want to, especially on an extra point where the important thing is just get the ball up in the air. You want to get low on that ball. But for soccer, you want to hit it low and come up on it, try and dip it down, especially in Morano's position where he plays mostly defender, a little bit of midfield on the soccer team. So